What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and this is a full carbon M1000RR. Guys, this bike needs little to no introduction. It is Jaret's full carbon M1000RR, but what it needs is a walk around, and that's what we're here for today. It's almost understated. That's why it needs a walk around, because you could just look at it and be like it's just a bunch of carbon fiber, but this is a very special bike. First of all, it's an M1000RR. So it is the top of the food chain when it comes to BMW sport bikes. And the other thing is, the crazy fact about this bike, Jaret weighed this on his channel. Stock it weighed in a 430 wet. So that's full of fluids. After everything that was done to it, it weighed in an astonishing 390 pounds. That is insane, guys. Don't forget, this bike has mirrors, turn signals, it's fully road legal. And that lightweight figure of this bike is mind-blowing. I think we were all surprised. Even Jaret himself was surprised. You should go check out that video on his channel. And the weight savings really come from this fuel tank and the subframe, and also the engine of the M1000RR with the titanium internals that's lighter than an S1000RR engine. Guys, when we say it's full carbon, we've seen people call their bikes full carbon, especially M1000RRs. It's not a full carbon bike if you are not at this level. This has a full carbon fiber subframe, a full carbon fiber fuel tank. This is not a cover. And as we go along the walk around of this bike, that's going to be the common theme. It's carbon fiber, and it is just amazing. And one thing I want to mention is this color scheme. So this color scheme, Jaret was showing me his ideas and what he was coming up with, and I think the kind of inspiration behind this was BMW's motorsport division. Obviously it has the motorsport colors, but if you take a look at some of their GT cars that they race, it has a very similar livery, and it really played out well with this bike, and it looks just amazing. And the other fact that I want to mention is that if you looked at this bike, the quality of the carbon is so high that if you don't know, you probably would have thought that this is an OEM piece that comes like this, because it could have just been a BMW special model that came carbon fiber, because not all carbon fiber is created equally, and the fit and finish of this carbon fiber on this bike is amazing. And I gotta say, shouts out to Dado. His sausage fingers worked on this bike and it got it looking this good. So let's go to the front of this bike. Some of the first things you ever gotta do on your bike are these radiator guards. It's got the DHA83 radiator guards. It protects this beautiful radiator and oil cooler so that it keeps it in tip-top shape, so you don't shoot rocks and stuff at it and start bending fins. One thing I gotta mention is, if you look at a bike, you might not unsee this and you might hate me for this, it looks very silver down here. So with a bike like this, where the theme is black, it would have stuck out like a sore thumb. And these radiator guards really hide those radiators on there. We have our carbon fiber fender, our carbon fiber brake cooling ducts, and our Lightech axle sliders. And since we're down here, we have our T-Drive rotors. It's our go-to rotors. They're the best of the best you could get in terms of road use. I know there's a T-Drive Pista Bassa, but they're kind of overkill for the street. We got our Pro-Tie blue titanium bolts, and you'll see it all throughout this bike. It has a full titanium bolt kit. So right behind these brake cooling ducts, we have our beautiful Brembo style limit calipers in red. And it worked out beautifully with this bike's blue and red theme, because the rear caliper is the stock one, but the front one, where most of the braking power comes from, we have these beautiful Brembo style limit calipers in red. And we're using the Stahlbus bleeder valves just like we do on every other bike, and I'm sure Dada really appreciated that when it came to bleeding the bike. To support the calipers, we have our RCS17 Corsa Corta master cylinder with our Stahlbus valve, our Tygon clear tubing, and our Rizoma reservoir. And you guys might be asking, why 17 RCS and not 19 RCS? We're using the 17 RCS to match the style limit calipers. They usually recommend a 17mm master cylinder, and that's why it's 17 RCS. And right up top here, the stock forks are non-electronic. Non-electronic forks are better for racing applications. So when Ducati or BMW puts out a bike at this level, there's always manual suspension. And this thing right here, this red piece really plays along with the theme, because if you take a look, there's some blue, there's some red, and that's the theme throughout the bike. And right behind it, we have the upper triple. This is the stock CNC machine upper triple by Gillies Tooling. And we have our beautiful TWM steering stem nut right on top of it. We have our carbon fiber top tank cover, carbon fiber tank side panel, carbon fiber badge holder piece right here, and the carbon just keeps going on. Even this piece right here, the instrument cluster cover, that's carbon fiber. And that's the level of detail that's on this bike, and I think that's one of the main reasons that it weighs 390 pounds, because trust me, plastic weighs more than carbon fiber. And right up front over here, we have our full 6 windshield. It's a part carbon fiber windshield and part plastic on top because you want to see through it. And other than these carbon fiber winglets that are on this bike, we have our Rizoma Aero wing mirrors. These provide downforce when you need them. And if you're riding on the street and want to use your mirrors, you flip them up just like that and they work beautifully. And for a guy of my body type and size, these are very functional. I could never see out of the stock mirrors, and that's why sometimes on some of the bikes you'll see we use the bar end mirrors. They add a little bit of width to the car, and if you lane split, that might get in the way. But ever since these came out, for any bike that's available that I ride, I put these on because, take a look at this. When I'm riding, all I gotta do is this motion. Lift my elbow up, and I can see right through when I wanna see through and check my mirrors. Let's put these down to downforce mode so it looks beautiful. And when you look at this bike, one big piece that I think, even if you're not building a full carbon S1000RR or M1000RR, the biggest change in aesthetics is this beautiful full 6 belly pan. It really finishes off the look of the bike. That fits the stock exhaust actually, guys. So if you're running a slip-on, you want to clean up the looks of the bike, that belly pan will fit. But this bike is running a Krapovich GP Shorty full titanium exhaust. And look at this, it's blued so nicely. That almost plays with the color scheme of the bike because there's so much blue on this bike. And the difference between the street belly pan and the race belly pan is this cutout right here and the cutout down here. And trust me guys, if you're riding on the street, you should opt in for these street models because number one, it looks much cooler because you can see your exhaust, but the race belly pans are made to hold fluid. That's what the sanctioning bodies in racing want. In case you're spilling fluids, they want to contain it in there. And when you wash your bike, those race belly pans start holding the fluid in there. It's very hard to get it out. And obviously this is not cut out on it. So if you want to see your exhaust, if you have a full titanium system like this that it blues, you usually have to cut that out. But hey, if you want to go for that real hardcore race look, and if you're not racing but you still want it, by all means go ahead. I think 650 Eve has that on his M1000RR and it was cut out. And right here we have our carbon fiber case cover and our carbon fiber frame covers. And I do read comments of people saying, hey, you know, it's adding weight to the bike. Why are you running the carbon fiber frame covers? Yes, it's aesthetics, it looks beautiful, but also don't forget, and I'm sure some of you guys know, if you worked on these bikes, especially the BMWs, for whatever reason, the paint on the frame is pretty thin. And if you take brake cleaner and rubber on there, it's so easy for that paint to come off. On the older BMWs, it was a hot point of the bike that your knees always touch, so that kind of helped with the heat. In this case, it's protecting the frame, it's looking good, and also it's there to make sure that if anything happens, in case you ever go down, it will protect your frame. It's an added layer on the bike. Right here in blue, we have the TWM oil filler cap. It is pre-drilled for safety wire, and also I believe comes with a little bracket that goes here so that you could run your safety wire right there. It is running the factory M1000RR rear sets on this bike, and it has a beautiful carbon fiber heel guards on it too. These are available for you guys who want to run these on your S1000RRs. They're readily available and they're on our website. And also, if you want to go for a blacked out look, Gillies Tooling is the manufacturer of these. We also have the Gillies Tooling rear sets. And on the back of this bike, we have our ultralight rear brake rotor. It matches the bike pretty well. We also got some comments about these rotors. Guys, these rotors are used in racing. Motor America's bikes, if you take a look at them, they're running the same exact rotors, and they do function because a lot of people get caught out by how much it's been cut out. But trust us, it does function. We've never had any problems with it. And carbon looks beautiful under the sunlight. And if you've seen this bike on Jaret Campese's videos, I guess it's winter over there and working inside on the bike, it kind of doesn't do it justice. You have to see it in person, but also I think on video under the sunlight that Mother Nature has provided us today, it shows the true beauty of these bikes. And right here, we have our carbon wheels. They're the factory carbon wheels. Oftentimes people complain on how subtle the carbon fiber wheels are because it's a little darker shade of a clear coat or whatever coating that these wheels have on it. And the sun really kicks that carbon fiber weave up to your attention. And we have our full 6 carbon fiber rear hugger with the chain guard. And right around this side, we have our 520 conversion kit. There's a little bit of Dado's touch in here. This is the Alpha Racing kit. It's the lightest kit that we have. It is an aluminum rear sprocket. It was silver. Dado took his time to paint that black to match the overall theme of this bike. And it's dressed up with these Pro-Tie lightweight titanium sprocket nuts. We have our rear axle sliders by Lightech on here. We have our TWM spools. We have the carbon rear swing arm cover on this bike, and I want to point this shark fin out. It has an integrated shark fin. That shark fin protects the rider, mostly your feet or legs, if you ever go down or have an incident from going into the sprocket. That's one thing that's derived from the racing world. It's required by many sanctioning bodies, and it's incorporated in these swing arm covers. Remember, I said full carbon, right? Look at the kickstand. The kickstand of this bike is the full carbon kickstand. This is the revised version. This is the brand new version that's been out for about a year now by Full 6. They revised it. They made it a little shorter so that the bike leans over, because I think one of the many comments was that the bikes were standing up too upright with their kickstands, and they've listened and they've made the adjustments for these. One thing that we did on this bike that wasn't on the bike when it arrived from Jaret Campese's compound is this Alpha Racing quick shifter. Not only it feels amazing when you're riding the bike, if you look at your stock quick shifter, it's all silver. It matches the theme of the bike. And right behind it, we have the sprocket cover, the front sprocket cover that's Full 6, and other case cover on the alternator side. And speaking of blue and the color on this bike, we have our Samco hoses. These are silicone hoses. It's not that they just look great, but these hoses, if you look at any motorsport application, be it automobiles or motorcycles, MotoGP, they run Samco hoses. And why? It's because obviously they probably want their stuff to look good, but these things function. So as coolant runs through this, it helps dissipate the heat, helps cool down the bike. And I think it was Jaret who made a video on a Street Fighter build that they did a measurement on how hot the bike was running before and after the Samco hoses and an additional cooler that he ran on it. And I think he kind of did a test to show you guys that it runs cooler. Remember, we said this bike's a street bike. This bike has turn signals in the front too. So we have these very subtle NRC front turn signals. I encourage everyone to be as safe as possible, and don't forget your turn signals are part of safety, because you want to tell other motorists that you're turning left or right by using your signals. And these signals are clearly visible, and they're subtle enough that they clean up the look of the bike as well. And additionally, we have our roundels, which are acting like turn signals as well. You have to use them in conjunction with your other turn signals, and they alternate, as you see. If one is blinking, the other one is amber, vice versa. So they look great, and they also work as turn signals, which is the part of that safety element that I mentioned. And we have our NRC rear fender eliminator kit. I say it over and over again, guys, when I show these to you guys. You want to balance safety with beauty. And I love these pieces by NRC. It really cleans up the bike, but also the functionality of it. You see the turn signals clearly from every angle of the bike that you need to see it on, and the brake light functions well. And don't forget, it is bright and sunny right now. It's daytime, Miami sun, it's almost noon. It's as bright as it gets, and we could clearly see these lights. And if I brake, I'm sure you could clearly tell that the bike is braking. And if you turn the turn signals on, other people that are behind you, that are driving, that are riding, are going to know that you're turning right or left. One other piece that's a very special piece on this bike is the Moto seat cover. And it has Dado's and Jaret's signature on there. It's custom made for them. You could get the seat cover without the signature and the stitching, obviously. But I think I would want to make one change and grab my red Sharpie and write full carbon M1000RR instead of just carbon M1000RR. Because I get a kick out of this. It's truly a full carbon bike. So guys, this is Jaret Campese's beautiful and lightweight full carbon fiber M1000RR. They are giving this bike away, so if you want to see how you could enter to win this bike, go on his channel. All the details are there. And if you want any of these parts, check the links in the description below. We usually link them to our website or to the collection of parts that we have for these. But if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Carbon fiber, 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 carbon fiber.